Hello students. So in this class we will be discussing programming the 8051 in serial communication using interrupts. Okay. So we know that out of the six or rather five interrupts, the last one is the serial communication interrupt. So we have one single interrupt for serial communication. So we know that whenever interrupt is generated, the 8051 will stop whatever it is doing and it will execute an ISR, that is corresponding ISR of the interrupt. Okay, execute the ISR in order to provide the service to the interrupt or to respond to the type of interrupt, right? So if you recall from the vector table, the serial communication interrupt ISR is located at the location 0023H, right? So whenever interrupt is generated, the program counter has to go to this location in order to execute the ISR. So in order to make this type of interrupt, that is serial communication interrupt, to be recognized or encountered by the processor, what has to be done? First, it has to be enabled, isn't it? So in order to do that, we use IE register, interrupt enable register. So the fourth bit of the interrupt enable register is to enable the serial port interrupt. Okay. So we know the procedure. Whenever first thing is we have to enable the interrupt. So based on the serial communication and during the serial communication, when is the interrupt generated? So in transmission process, when at the halfway through of the stop bit, the interrupt will be, or the TI flag will get set, isn't it? So TI flag will get set in order to indicate that the 1 byte of data is transmitted. Okay. So the same way in reception, when the data is received serially, so after the deframing of the data takes place, so removing the start bit and the stop bit, halfway through the stop bit, as the data is received, the 8 bit of data will sit in SBUF register. So halfway through the stop bit, during the reception also, the RI flag will get set, indicating that 8-bit or 1 byte of data is ready in SBUF register, isn't it? So that is how the TI or the RI flag will get set in serial communication. So by the end of this class, you will be able to program the 8051 for interrupt-based serial communication. So earlier we have discussed and we have seen some programs, we have analyzed some programs where we can send data or receive data serially. Okay, so now we will be analyzing or understanding the same process, the programming process, using interrupt method. So in serial communication, the TI, the transmit interrupt flag, is raised or it will get set when the last bit of the frame data, the stop bit, is transferred, indicating that the SBUF register is ready to transfer the next byte. Okay, so when the 1 byte of data is gone or transmitted bitwise, okay, then the transfer interrupt flag will get set. In the same way, the receive interrupt will get raised when the 8-bit of data is ready in SBUF register. So if you recall, in the serial communication, I had explained what is the use of these flags. The flags indicate that a 8-bit of data is transmitted, okay, so that the next 8-bit of data will come and sit in SBUF register during transmission, okay, or when the data is received serially. So when the data 8-bit data is ready in SBUF register after the reception, so the flag indicates that the data is ready in SBUF. Okay, So that has to be read from the microcontroller and save it to some location or send it to some port depending on the application. Otherwise, what happens if the data is not received or if it is not saved, then the new byte of data would come and sit in SBUF register, um, overwriting the previous one, or at the cost, that is, you may lose the previous data if you have not received or saved it. So that is the role of TI and RI flags in serial communication. So in serial communication, 8051 has only one interrupt for serial communication. Okay, so this interrupt is used to both send and receive data. So if the interrupt bit in IE register, as I mentioned now, the fourth bit, if it is enabled, when RI or TI flag is raised, so that will indicate as a interrupt. Okay, then 8051 will jump to the memory location 0023H in order to execute the interrupt service routine. So in that interrupt service routine, we must examine or we must check whether TI flag is set or RI flag is set, because both are tied together. Okay, as you can see in the diagram here, both the TI and RI are taken as input to an OR gate. So if any one of the input is high, then the output of the OR gate will be high, which is an indication that the execution will be led to, or the control will be going to 0023H memory location to execute the ISR. So in ISR subroutine, we have to first examine what made this interrupt to cause, whether it is TI or RI flag. Okay. Then accordingly, we have to take steps in the ISR. Okay. Okay, to understand this, let us analyze this program. Write a program in which the 8051 reads data from port 1 and writes it to port 2 continuously, while giving a copy of it to the serial communication port to be transferred serially. Okay, assume the crystal frequency as 11.0592 and set the baud rate at 9600. All right. Now, go through the program. I will give some time for you. Go through the program. So what are the things there? First, ORG00, that is the first line, wherein we are using instruction ljump main because we don't want to save a program in the space allocated for interrupt vector and the ISRs, right? We have to shift our main program to some other location. So 0023 is a location allocated for serial communication, isn't it? Serial communication ISR, okay? And see, ORG30H is where your main program is starting. Okay, observe the program. Now, first line is you're sending FF to port 1, that you know that you're configuring port 1 as the input port. So that is our first step, because according to the question, input 1 is reading data. You're reading data from port 1. Okay. Then you're loading TMOD register with 20. So I have placed the registers here. 20 indicate that you are using timer 1. Okay. And you're programming that to be operating in mode 2. Okay, mode 2 is where the timer is operating as a 8-bit timer, right? Then when you are saying 8-bit, it is in auto reload, which means that you have to give the initial value in TH1 register. Okay, I hope you are familiar with all these basic theory behind all the programming methods. All right. So that's why you're loading TMOD with 20, timer 1, you're programming to be operating in mode 2. In the next instruction, you are loading the value FD into TH1 register. Why is this? This is because you're programming the timer to be operating with the baud rate 9600. So in order to calculate the initial value, what is the procedure? Now we are talking about serial communication, right? So what will be the frequency that is coming to the timer? It is 28,800. So 28,800 by 9,600 baud rate. Okay, so for that the value will be FD in hex. So this FD is loaded into TH1 register. I hope you recall the things. Then you have SCON register. SCON register you are loading with 50. And why is that so? 50, again check the register there. 50 means 0101. So you are making SM0 and SM1 bit 01. That means you are programming serial communication to have 8-bit data and 1 stop bit, right? And you are also enabling the receive bit. Receive enable also you are making it high. So that's why the value 50. Yeah. Then you're moving IE register with 100, the binary value. So the fourth bit you are making it high, which is a serial communication interrupt bit. So the last bit also has to be made high, because all interrupts will be enabled only when enable all will be high, correct? So that's the reason 1001 is the value that you're sending into IE register. Now observe, set bit TR1 means you are starting the timer. So as this timer starts, it starts counting up from FD value, the initial value. So meanwhile, what is the processor doing? It is reading the data from port 1, okay, and it is transmitting serially, isn't it? So in order to transmit serially, what you have to do? The data has to be loaded into SBUF register. Then from SBUF register, the data will be framed. Data framing takes place, that is with 1 start bit and 1 stop bit, and the data will be serially transmitted. For every clock pulse, 1 bit will be transmitted serial, isn't it? So that is what is happening here at this point. Yeah, that is move SBUF comma A. The data in A which you have read from port 1, that is sent to SBUF. The question says that also take a copy, also send it to port 2 continuously. So the data in A is also passed to port 2 continuously. So this is taking place continuously as you are keeping that in loop, SJump back. So continuously read the data from port 1, send it to port 2, and also a copy is sent in a serial communication port. Now, what happens meanwhile? Now this data is read continuously and sent continuously, and also it is serially transmitted. Now, when will be the ISR executed? So when the ISR is executed, as in the previous slide here, it will jump to location 0023H. So in the ISR, what have you written there? LJump serial. So you have saved your ISR in some other location, isn't it? So I mentioned in the previous class, if your ISR is more than 8 bytes, or you think that you need more space allocated than allocated for it, then you can save it in some other location. But at 0023 you have to say something, so you go to that location, something like that. So that is why this instruction LJump serial. So LJump serial means it will come here, org 100H. Okay, so 100H you have saved your ISR for the serial port subroutine. Now observe what is there in the subroutine. You are checking for the TI flag. Jump on bit TI flag, comma trans. That means if TI flag is set, jump to location trans. If not, what? If not, okay, that means if TI is not set, that means it has to be RI set. What caused the interrupt to take place, isn't it? So the interrupt would be generated either by TI or RI. Jump on bit TI to trans. If it is not TI means it is nothing but RI is set there. So that is an indication. So if RI is set, receive interrupt is enabled, that means the data is already there in SBUF register, that is an indication. So from SBUF register, read it to accumulator. Got it? I had explained it earlier. So the interrupt may be generated by the TI flag or RI flag. So first condition you are checking, is it by TI? If it is not, then this instruction will not be executed. The next instruction will be executed. So next instruction indicates that RI was set. RI was set is a meaning that the data, 8-bit data that is serially received is already available in SBUF register. So copy that to A. Clear it. Because if you recall the RI and TI flags where we had discussed in the TCON register, they are enabled by hardware, but they have to be reset by software method. Okay, so you have to clear it, clear RI, and RETI is your last instruction in the subroutine. Observe if this was correct, that is this was valid instruction, jump on bit TI. If TI was set, if the interrupt was generated because TI, because of the transmission, then what? You will come here, clear TI, then RETI. Okay, so it will go back to the main program. So that is the end of the program. I hope it is clear. Go through the program again in order to understand. Just to recall, TI and RI flags are in SCON register. Just check the registers. TI flag and RI flags are in SCON register. Okay, let us analyze this program. Write a program in which the 8051 gets data from port 1. It gets the data from port 1 and sends it to port 2 continuously. So you are reading data from port 1 and sending it to port 2. Port 1 is input port, port 2 is output port, while incoming data from serial port is sent to port 0. Okay, so the data is also coming serially via the serial port that has to be sent to port 0. Okay, so port 0 is output port here, but which data has to be sent? The data that is coming serially from serial port, right? And how does it take place? You recall, it is the serial communication takes place via the serial port TXD line or RXD line, isn't it? So for transmission you use line TXD and for reception you use RXD. Okay, so the crystal frequency of the microcontroller, it is assumed to be 11.0592 megahertz. So the program says that set the baud rate at 9600. Okay, so observe the program starting from org00 ljump main. You are saving your main program in some other location, and the ISR for the serial communication is starting from 0023H. And there again you are not saving the whole program that in that location, but you are saving in some other location called serial. Okay. So the main program, you are first loading port 1 or configuring port 1 as input port. Okay, then you're loading tmod register with 20H, timer 1 programmed to be operating in mode 2 as auto reload. So that's why the initial value is loaded in th1 register, the fd, for to set the baud rate to be 9600, and you know about that. So 28,800 by 9,600 baud rate which you want, so you'll get -3 decimal in hexa, it is fd. So that is what you'll be loading in TH1 register. SCON register you are loading with value 50H, which is to program that serial communication. It is 8-bit data with one stop bit. Okay, and the REN bit is also enabled. Then you are enabling the serial interrupt. Okay, that's why you are loading this value in IE register 1001 0000 binary value, that is 90 in hex, is loaded into IE register, right? Now what happens? According to the program, you are reading the data from port 1 and sending it to port 2. The data that is coming from the serial communication port is sent to port 0. Okay, so observe how to write the program. Start the timer. So when you start the timer starts ticking, right? It starts counting up. So you're reading the data from port 1. The microcontroller is reading the data from port 1 and sending it to port 2. So this is continuously happening. Meanwhile, you're waiting for the interrupt to be generated, which is for serial communication. So what is happening in serial communication? The data that is you are received has to be sent to port 0, isn't it? So you have to wait for an interrupt whether the data is received or not, isn't it? So when will that happen? Whenever RI flag will get set. When RI flag will get set, that will invoke an interrupt signal, isn't it? So when the interrupt is generated, then the microcontroller should stop what it is doing, okay, and go to the ISR to execute this, isn't it? So let's see. Let's imagine there is, that is RI flag is set, okay. So indicating that the reception is complete, 1 byte of data is ready. Where will that data be? It will be in SBUF register. Okay. Now the interrupt signal is generated. When the interrupt signal is generated, the microcontroller will stop what it is doing. What is it doing now? It is reading data and sending it to port 2. So it will stop this, go to this location 0023H. There you say ljump serial. So it will jump to another location ljump. It will come here. Okay, and in the ISR you will have to check what caused the interrupt to generate, whether it is TI or RI. Obviously you know it is RI because you're reading data, but still it is a good practice to check for the conditions. So as discussed in the previous program, you're again doing the same thing. Check whether TI is set. If it was set, then you will come here. If it is not, then the next if TI is not set means obviously RI would have set, that would have caused the interrupt. So the interrupt generated is an indication that reception of 1 byte of data is complete and that is available in SBUF register. Read that to port A. Then according to the question, send it to port 0. Okay. So send that to port 0. The data what you have read, send it to port 0. That's what you are doing. So observe both the programs are different. In the previous ISR, we didn't have this instruction. You can compare it later. Okay. Then you have to clear RI. The flag which was set by the hardware method has to be cleared by software. Okay. Clear RI. Then RETI will be the usual last instruction in the ISR. Okay. So I hope this is clear. So I would like to bring to your notice that the 5 interrupts, external interrupt 0, external interrupt 1, timer 0 interrupt and timer interrupt 1, that is overflow of timer 0 and 1, are all indicated by the TCON register, but only the serial communication interrupt would be indicated by the SCON register. Okay. So keep that in mind when you are discussing about interrupt flag bits in 8051. Okay, so you will refer to TCON register and SCON register. So I would expect you to go through the examples in the textbook. Okay. So also get ready for upcoming test. So by the end of this week, you will be having one test. Okay. Where based on your suggestion, which is the right time to conduct the test, maybe I'll be asking few of you, or you can message in your class group which is the right time. So in that right time, the question will be uploaded in the Google Classroom. So within that time constraint, maybe say the time depending on the number of questions, you will have to answer and upload within that time constraint. Okay. So meanwhile, I'll be taking or asking few of your classmates, or if you want to suggest any day and time, suitable time, you can post that in your WhatsApp class group. Okay, based on that, based on the majority of suggestions, the day you're suggesting and the time, I will fix the time for microcontroller test. Okay, so the topic you can, I have almost completed programming timers, serial communication, and interrupts. Okay, so based on all these three topics, you can expect some questions for the test. All the best, prepare well. If you have any doubt, if you want me to repeat any topic, you can please let me know. I have no issues, I can explain again. All right, thank you.